Hi everyone, my name is Christina Chanya Lenjo and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I talk about psychosocial issues that affect our mental health. Today I'm privileged to have a guest here with us. He's called Mr. I. I'm protecting his identity because of confidentiality purposes. We'll be talking about how COVID-19 affected his mental health. Mr. I, welcome to this session. I know a few weeks ago you were sick with COVID and it really impacted your mental health. So welcome to this session.
Thank you for having me.
Karibu sana. So briefly tell us, a few weeks ago you had COVID-19 and you had to be in isolation for about 2 weeks. Tell us how you went through that.
Well, once I started having the symptoms, I first isolated for a few days just to figure out what was going on. At first, I thought it was just a normal cold that will pass within 3 days and I'm good to go back to work. But it didn't pan out that way. So after like 4 days, I went to a clinic nearby. I was given medicine. They thought it wasn't something serious. They sent me back home with medicine. Then after a day, I became worse. Then I was rushed to hospital where I was given the COVID test and it turned out positive. So now from there, that's when I started isolating fully. And yeah, that's how it has been since.
Okay, so you had told me earlier on that you're in isolation for about 2 weeks and you're living alone. I'm just trying to imagine how the situation was like. You know, living alone, you have COVID. Of course, there's all that anxiety around having COVID. You know, you don't know what will happen to you. Could you please tell us more about that experience?
Well, once I was confirmed that I was positive, COVID positive, the first thoughts were, how many people have I infected? And how did I get it? Considering I'm one person who's very cautious to what I touch, or rather where the places I visit. So those two thoughts were running through my mind the first few hours. Then it hit me that I actually had COVID. I had no one to take care of me. So I had to figure out how I will take care of myself. And again, I had this anxiety now became like 100% there. So it was a bit hectic trying to figure out what to eat. Because again, during that period, you're unable to eat. You can't taste, you can't smell. You're fully exhausted 24/7. A distance of literally a meter, you start sweating, you're unable to breathe accurately. It was a bit hard the first few days, but thank God I had people who were working with me during that period of time. I was able to get over the anxiety, but it wasn't so easy. It wasn't easy.
So from what you're telling me is that it was quite difficult for you. There was a lot of anxiety, and then of course the physical symptoms of COVID-19, you know, and then now being alone. But you've also mentioned a very important aspect of social support. There were people around you who were supporting you. Who are these people, and what kind of support did you receive from them?
I was fortunate enough to have a counselor work with me. Just someone who was just encouraging me on a daily basis. Because sometimes I mostly suffer from anxiety and panic attacks. So during the first 5 days or 7 days, it was quite extreme that I will get a panic attack. And when I get a panic attack, the first thing I will think about was death. You literally you no longer have the urge to wake up, because all you think about is, if I wake up and then I walk because I'm running out of breath, I can drop dead just there. I'm not eating, my body is weak, I might die because I'm not eating. There was that the anxiety was too much to bear. So having someone to talk to and actually share what I was feeling at that period of time really helped me to push through.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everyone has emotional needs, and having someone to talk to, there's a ray of relief that you get. So when I had someone to talk to, it really helped me, rather than the previous days that I wasn't talking to anyone. Because the first part I was in denial, full on denial.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't understand how did I get to this point. I've been literally doing everything, and sometimes when I get to the house, I spray my whole house again with Jik. I spray the clothes that I had worn with Jik, shower, use Dettol literally in everything that I do, and I still got COVID. So I couldn't comprehend how was it that I got COVID, and where will I have gotten it. So getting past that, it was through the help of the counselor that I had.
So you felt that you had done everything within your means to, avoid catching COVID, but you still caught COVID.
Yes.
And so you experienced denial. And then, of course, there was the anxiety because you didn't know how the situation was going to pan out. Yeah. You had all these scary physical symptoms, difficulty breathing, fatigue, and you're all alone. So you didn't know whether you'd even wake up the following day, alive, right?
True.
And then you've also explained that you suffer from panic attacks. How were you able to, handle the panic attacks, knowing that you were living alone?
Well, the first few days, I won't lie, I didn't handle it quite well. Because the thought that was going through my mind during all that time is, what if I die? So I will get any sleep, and anytime I will doze off, the first thing that will pop up, are you dead? So with the help of the counselor I had, I started journaling.
Okay.
So anytime I started having any sort of anxiety, I will identify where the reason behind it. Then I will write it down and look for a solution for it. Even if the solution is not immediate, it's something that will come gradually.
Yeah.
And then I went back to doing manual things in the house that will distract me. So you will find that I will take some wires I had in the house, try to organize them, anything that I will find in the house, just to try and distract myself. That's how I was able to deal with the panic attacks.
Okay. I'm imagining how scary panic attacks are, because also panic attacks come with, difficulty breathing, sweating, feeling like you're going to die. And then you're all alone in the house. And then you've got also all these other fears about, the COVID-19 infection. What calmed you down? What calmed you down during the time that you were experiencing the panic attacks?
Honestly, I won't pinpoint a specific thing, because the only thing that I honestly will say that used to calm me down is when I see the sun. That's now when my anxiety will now decrease. Because as I said earlier on, whenever I tried to sleep, I will wake up with that anxiousness of or rather that feeling of as if I had died. Because again, I'm still struggling to breathe. So I'm still sweating a lot. So in my mind, I'm like, it's as if it's my last minute on earth. I'm passing out completely. So it's either I push through to see the sun, or I just give in. So what used to help me through most of the time is just to see the sun, because you can't sleep whenever you're having a panic attack. It's really hard for you to sleep unless you're on medication, and I didn't want medication, because again, no one will have brought that medicine to me. So I just opted to wait for the sun. So whenever I saw the sun, I was at least okay. Yeah.
So the sun was like a ray of hope for you, or what did the sun mean to you?
Yeah, a ray of hope.
Okay. So a day at a time, basically. That's what kept you going.
Yeah, I literally used to draw sticks on the wall. So any day that I will see the sun, I will tick it off.
Wow.
So that's how I literally used to survive. Because walking from my room to the sitting room was a whole task. So 90% of my time I spent in bed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You've mentioned something very important, that there was a counselor who was helping you, deal with the emotions at that time, deal with your fears and your anxieties. And then, of course, there was also the social support that you received from, the people who are supplying you with food during the time you're in isolation, which is really, really important when it comes to dealing with mental health issues. So what lessons can you or did you draw from this whole experience of being in isolation, going through COVID, taking a day at a time, having to deal with your mental health issues? What lessons have you drawn, or what did you draw from that experience?
Well, the most important one, or rather the most important ones, were just during that period of time, I drew closer to God. That's one. Two, I learned the importance of having a counselor in your life, and then having friends, not just acquaintances, but friends who become like family.
Yeah.
Because through that time, remember, I can't cook for myself. I can't go outside. So I had a friend who used to cook for me every single day and bring food to my door. Mind you, remember, I'm still infectious, but they still tried their best to bring me food.
Yeah, yeah.
Anytime I had any complication, they will bring me the medicine that I required, and they will bring to me. So the two important thing was I found myself and finding myself in God, and two, having good friends, people who will stick with you through thick and thin. Those two for me were important, because again, you lose your job during that period of time.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole stigma around it. I'm still suffering from the stigma situation, because I can't get a job because I had COVID. So during that time, the two things helped me a lot, and those are the two lessons that I learned.
Okay, so your faith
God
in
and
God
family.
deepened, and of course the social support system.
Yes.
All right. After COVID, did you suffer from any stigma? Did you still experience the mental health issues that you had experienced during COVID? During your infection with COVID-19?
Stigma is still there. Sometimes you literally don't want to talk to people because you don't want to say you are COVID positive, because you know how they'll react. They'll start distancing themselves from you. And it now becomes more, I won't say shameful. You start feeling everyone starts distancing themselves from you because you had COVID.
Okay.
And sorry, ask your question again. I forgot.
I was asking, do you still face stigma after COVID?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes, I do.
and do you still have the same mental health issues that you had experienced during your infection with COVID-19?
Sadly, yes.
Oh, okay.
Because
tell me about them briefly. Like, what are you still experiencing now, and what is causing, what is triggering?
Well, most
panic
triggers
attacks?
are whenever I leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I leave the house, the first thought is, will I get it again? And will I survive it if I get it again? Whenever you get into a matatu, you're afraid of touching anything. You're afraid of sitting behind someone, because if they cough, you're directly behind that person. So definitely, whatever thing they have coughed will come to you. Those are the things that go through my mind.
Yeah.
Anytime I enter into a matatu, if I'm going to a shop, I'm unable to use money because I'm afraid that the last person who touched it were they COVID positive.
Yeah.
So I've been now more keen in certain things that before I wasn't. And the fear of getting COVID again is now more stronger than it was before. So I think those are still the things that I still struggle with.
All right. I hope that your counselor is really helping you with those struggles right now, because the mental health issues that you experienced during infection with COVID-19, actually some people continue experiencing them even after the infection. Yeah. So it would be very important for anyone infected with COVID to have to seek professional help to be able to deal with all those mental health issues that happen during infection and even after infection. So any last words that you could share with us?
Well, just people to be careful. COVID is real.
Yeah.
And it's no longer about, have you had someone who has it? It's no longer about hearing someone. Now you know someone who has already gotten it.
Yeah.
So we all need to protect ourselves and also protect our loved ones. Because one slight mistake, it can get you COVID. I'm just fortunate enough that I survived through it. One way or another, I survived through it. And I believe guys can push through it. But we all have to do our part to take care of ourselves and also to take care of others. That's all.
All right.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. I, for sharing your experience with us. I hope that many of us have learned so much from you and will continue learning from even other people. And it's important to actually share our struggles, our mental health struggles, because it helps to demystify mental health, and it also helps to destigmatize COVID-19, because this is the topic of discussion today. So thank you so much, Mr. I, for being vulnerable enough to share your experience with us. And I wish you the best and quick recovery from your mental health issues. And
thank you.
Yeah. So my parting words are that it's very important for us to build our mental resilience, because when you're mentally resilient, we're able to overcome certain challenges, unexpected challenges that we face in life, and we're able to bounce back. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Let's take care of our mental health. And remember, there's no health without mental health. And before you leave this page, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You could also share this video with others so that they can also get to learn something about mental health. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Cheers.